Hi, I'm Jessica Patterson of Spinning Shadows Fiber Arts, and part of you may be wondering, where were you yesterday? And the other part of you are like, oh, you visited the hairdresser. And you would be right, I did. And this is my new favorite haircut. We'll see how long it lasts. So I did manage to get some fiber stuff done, and I am looking forward to showing you what I have finished. Cameraman? I have 2 turtles finished. This is the first one that I showed you before, I believe. I think this is the first one. And this is the second one, I think. These are each approximately half the batt that I got from Little Texas Yarns. And today I'm going to show you, I'm going to turn them into one ball so that I can easily stick them in a bag and fly. So for that purpose, while I'm chatting with you, I have this beautiful bag that is just my color. It has purple on it. I have a pom-pom from Dollar General, and I have the stuff I'm going to be using afterwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw these balls in here and continue on. I'm going to join the ends in my hand. Boop, boop. And I don't know if I've done this before, I'll have to look, but basically what you do to make a ply ball is you take these 2 strands and act as if they're one yarn and wrap them around. And when you wrap a ball, if you've never hand done this, you're just wrapping it in a way that it holds on. You don't want it to be too tight, but you just keep going around and slowly turning it so that it loads, well, winds fairly evenly. And you're just pulling the balls of yarn, keeping a little bit of tension, and just going round and round and round. I like doing this. It's rather soothing, and it takes a little bit of time, but it's time well spent. And this way, since I'm doing it this way, I can make sure the 2 balls of yarn, the 2 threads, are even before I start plying, so I don't end up having to stop mid-ply and do an Andean bracelet or what have you. I can do it beforehand and just have the work done. All that's left is just plying. I'll be plying these really quickly today on my Turkish spindle, the spindle I use to spin the yarn, which was really fun. I don't use my Turkish spindle a lot because it is sort of slow, and slower spindles tend to aggravate me. But it's a good learning experience to spin with a slow spindle. You actually have to think about what you're doing. And it's good for larger, fluffier, more woolen yarns, which are great for neck warmers, gloves, scarves, hats. You know, that fluffy, chunky yarn is great for hats. And anything that you really just want to be cushy, that maybe is not going to get too rough of use. You can also use it for an item that you're going to felt. It'll felt really nicely. So I'm actually almost done here. It gets faster as it gets bigger. So this, using a slower spindle, helps to create a larger and loftier yarn, which, depending on your project, may be what you want. If you're weaving, that's perfect for weft, to create a really thick woven fabric. If you're doing something that you want to felt, if you're doing something that you want to just be real insulative against cold or even heat. And that kind of yarn is really handy, and so it's good to know how to make what you want, basically. So a Turkish spindle is really good for this loftier yarn, and it's also fun to make the turtle with it. It's fun to build and see the color changes. You can see most of the color changes, and when you take it off, it's pretty fun. It stays together like a ball, and that, like you can see, it's easy to wind off of or just fly from. So we're almost to the end here. These actually will be fairly even, but it looks like I'm gonna have to make an Andean bracelet. So now I can show you what I mean, actually show how I join the two ends of a fly ball. This works for most instances unless you really are, you're going for two-colored, two-stranded with two different colors yarn, because you'll end up with a length of the same color. So see, here's the end. And let's see, how am I going to do this? I'm going to put the end here. And how I make it is I go around my wrist, and then I'll go around my whole upper fingers here with minus the thumb. Go around my wrist and down again, around my wrist, or around this, yeah. And why I do this is when I did it around one finger or two, I always choked off my fingers. And it was really hard to get off, especially if I had a lot of yarn. So I figured this would be the safer method for doing an Andean bracelet than using just my finger and my wrist. So this is when I don't have my Nitty Knotty handy. When I have my Nitty Knotty handy, I use the Nitty Knotty to make these. And see, all I have to do now is just slide my fingers carefully out of this. So now I'm free, and I'll slide my thumb out of this, unwind that just slightly, and I'll match up these two ends here. Apply a little spit and friction to fuse them. And if you don't care if you have a length of different solid color in your barber pole yarn, then this would work just fine. I tend to not care, so I'm applying friction by rubbing these two between my hands, and that has mostly made a whole yarn. So from there, I'll wrap it around, get the hair on my face, pull from the bracelet, and just wrap it around. And that way, I'm using the entire length of yarn, and I don't have any waste. For most projects, that works just fine. So yeah, and I'll keep pulling until all that's left is a loop. So, tell me, what do you think? This ball of yarn is destined, I need more caffeine, is destined to go into a test knit for a brand new pattern, which I hope to show you guys. I can start in on it as soon as I get this plied and washed. I like to wash my yarns and set them first. And then I'm going to start in on the test knit for the pattern that I'm writing, and so I'd like to share with you guys a little bit of that process. So stay tuned for more. We'll see what videos we get uploaded over the course of the next few weeks or so. And I don't know what's going to come next. It'll be a surprise even to me. So leave a comment. What would you do with this kind of yarn? And are you looking forward to seeing what becomes of it? And hit that like button, hit subscribe, and ding the bell icon so you receive notifications of when new videos are listed. And share this with your friends who may be interested in this kind of craft. As always, have a nice day. Dogs.